Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 10, Chapter 29, Mai 3. Karunyananda spoke of Arjuna feeling lost in a sea of doubt and fear. He was desperate, like a ship without rudder in the midst of storms, he said. The Vishada Yoga, depression of spirit, into which Arjuna entered as soon as he appeared on the field of battle, is a necessary preliminary to the attainment of liberation. After listening to the Gita and seeing the manifestation of the Lord as the entire universe, Arjuna confessed that the delusion was gone. Nashto moha. The disappearance of delusion is the liberation all crave for. Moksha, liberation, is the shaya, disappearance of moha, delusion. The yaga ends today, but remember the tyaga, renunciation, which it teaches must continue as the inspiration of your lives forevermore. These 7 days the Ramayana was read here. Lessons from the Ramayana too have to be imprinted on your minds, the greatest being that karma brings downfall and Rama ensures success. Dasharatha sent his favorite son into exile, yielding to the wiles of his favorite wife. Rama sent his wife into exile, the very wife for whose recovery from the clutches of Ravana he had spent years of search and struggle, because he felt Dharma demanded it. Ravana learnt himself the bitter lesson that karma weakens and Dharma strengthens. Rama, he learnt, was the embodiment of Dharma, and so nothing could foil his plans. These are the bases on which the culture of this land and its people is raised. But those who plan for the nation today are planning only for roads, dams, factories, and farms. They ignore the paths of the spirit, the fields where love and humility, service and sacrifice can be cultivated. They lay emphasis on such developments as can be measured, seen, and put into impressive statistical tables, not the intangible motives that urge man to live in peace and brotherliness. The foundation for real peace is amicability. Man is now able to soar into outer space and reach up to the moon. Earth and sky are his playgrounds. But though he is intelligent enough to sail through space and under the sea and shoot bombs across continents, he is not moral enough to live at peace with his neighbor. A few handfuls will satisfy his hunger. A short length of cloth will cover his nakedness. A few square feet of shade are enough to shield him against heat and rain. But for these he slaughters his brothers and sisters, he steals, he plots full conspiracies, he revels in lies and breaks the law, and destroys peace in his own heart and in society. Schools, colleges, and educational institutes multiply, but the educated are a danger to themselves and to the country. Hospitals and medical research, drugs, and ameliorative measures increase, but the percentage of insanity and illness also increases. Everywhere there is the dark cloud of anxiety, fear, discontent, and agony, disturbing the rich as well as the poor nations of the world. The foundation for real peace is, according to the Vedas, the quality of Maitri. which means amicability, friendship, compassion, kindness. It can also be taken to mean my three, that is to say, my word, deed, and thought shall be in accordance with thy word, thought, and deed. That is to say, we shall speak, think, and act together without friction or faction, in the atmosphere of love and understanding. That is what is wanted in the world today. My three. God will never give up on you. The love between father and son, husband and wife, friend and friend is now artificial, not artificial. The son sues the father in the courts. The attachment between husband and wife does not last. Friends fight when selfish interests prevail. Man cannot trust brother, man. Fear and suspicion haunt relationship between man and man. Imagine a newly wedded couple strolling in a park. The man sees a thorn on the road, which the lady may put her boot upon. He suddenly rushes towards her and pulling her away, he says, "Thank God I saw it in time." 3 months later, they stroll along and the man sees a thorn. What happens? He says, "There is a thorn right there. Do not step on it." 3 more months pass. The thorn is found across their paths. He shouts, "Can't you see that thorn? Why are you barging forward as if the entire road is yours?" That is the history of the love which is idealized so grandly. The love that God bears to you, or that you bear to God, is not so transient or egoistic. God will never give you up, nor should you ever give up your hold on God. Mantras can bring grace to the aspirant. The yaga that concluded today is a demonstration of the energy and vibrations that mantras can release. There are potent mantras that can transform personality and bring grace to the aspirant. Om, the Pranava, is one such. Children are trained to walk by means of a three-wheeled strand, which they push forward with their hands while standing behind it. The Om is such a three-wheeled help, the three syllables A, U, and M being the wheels. Learn to walk safe and quick on the path of spiritual progress with the help of Om. Rama is another mantra having the same numerological vibrations. A equaling 0, U equaling 2, and M equaling 5, so that AUM is 7. Whereas R is 2, A is 0, and M is 5, so that Rama 2 is 7. A very seminal number with the important spiritual tonalities. Each individual is born with the question of Koham on its lips. Who am I? That is the question which presses on every breast, and the answer is given by every breath. Soham, he am I. The inhalation whispering so and the exhalation hum. But the question is brushed aside by the mind, impatient to dabble in the toyland it pictures the world to be. The answer is denied admission into the understanding by the ego, which deprives temporary pleasure thereby. Realize that your breath is answering the question correctly, and live in the consciousness that you are a wave of the He, that is, the infinite consciousness that is God. You may say that you will not believe in God unless you have clear experience personally about Him. Well, you believe that your date of birth is a certain month in a particular year. You have taken it on trust. You have many things on trust. It is impossible to insist on personal experience for everything which we have to believe, if life is to run smooth. Take this also on trust, for many sages, saints, scientists have accepted it and experienced it. Gurus whose integrity cannot be doubted. There are gurus whose integrity and validity you cannot doubt. They teach and test and transmit true knowledge gained through genuine sadhana. The sage Gautama one day called together his disciples and said, "You know that the drought has afflicted this region. Its effects are heightening. It shows no sign of abatement. It is spreading fast. The cattle belonging to the hermitage are suffering hunger and thirst. I cannot look upon those dumb animals in distress and calmly carry on my duties of teaching and learning. Some one of you must take them out to some country where there is ample pasture, and bring them back when the calamity is over." Many students shuddered at this task. They hung their heads and hid behind others in order not to attract attention. But Satyakama stood forward and offered to take the cattle out, quite happy at the chance. The others gathered around him with their sympathy, but Satyakama would have none of it. They told him that he would be alone in the wild, away from the comforts of hermitages and even from the sources of good food, for an indefinite length of time. He replied that the good wishes of the Guru will provide him enough safety and sustenance, that he was his best companion. He refused the offer of some friends to accompany him, for the Guru had not mentioned the need. If it was today, perhaps someone would have suggested to him to take at least a transistor radio with him, so that he could listen to his favorite film songs. Reward for humility and reverence. While leaving with the 500 head of cattle, Satyakama asked for the blessing of the Guru. He inquired when he could return and got the answer that he could think of returning as soon as the herd had increased to a total strength of 1,000. He lived up to his name, Satyakama. He whose sole desire is to preserve and propagate truth. Satyakama led the cattle to a charming valley where he camped with them. He rose with the morning star, recited prayers, performed prostrations to the rising sun, and was lost most of the time in japa and dhyana, though the tending of the cattle was not neglected in the least. He did not evince any anxiety to return home, but bided his time patiently. If it was today, he would have counted the cattle every day to see that he does not remain out for a single day more than what was necessary, or he would have somehow made up the number, adding a few stray cattle smuggled in, or making up some story about the 1,000 being already there, though the absence of a few could not be properly accounted for. One morning, soon after the morning rites, Indra, the chief of the gods, appeared before him. For the gods were watching over the solitary cowherd. He told him that the tally was 1,000 head of cattle, and so he could return. Indra offered to take him back safe and sound. On the way, they halted 4 nights in 4 separate villages. And on each night, Indra taught him one Veda, so that when he returned back to the hermitage of the Guru, Satyakama had mastered all the 4 Vedas. His face shone with a strange splendor, since the Vedic illumination had been imparted to him by no less a teacher than the Lord of the gods. The Rig Veda is the Veda full of prayers to God for the realization of the aims of life. The Yajur Veda describes the ceremonial and ritual aspects of worship. The Samaveda extols the gods through song and poetry. The Atharva Veda gives the secret formula for preserving health and security of body and community. He became master of all these 4 Vedas. That is the reward for humility and reverence. These qualities are fast disappearing in the cities and towns. The pest is spreading fast, destroying the crops in the villages also. But they are still powerless to affect the simplicity and sincerity of village life. That is the reason why I like villages very much. I shall not give up Puttaparthi and live in some other place or town. In the village, everyone will come to the help of a man. If his house is on fire, or if his well has had a landslide. In the towns you will find people making merry aloud when someone is dying in the neighboring house. Reverence towards elders and faith in the divine are present and active in the villages. They alone can help in the restoration of Dharma, the task on which I have come. Dashara, Prashanti Nilayam, October 10th, 1970. The body is the tabernacle of God, the chariot in which He is seated in all majesty. Do not identify yourself with it and its modifications and transformations. You are the Atma, and so you are above these affections of the body. Sri Sathya Sai Baba.